Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. It is Soccer Over There. It is Nick Leafy, and we are live, as always, and I am joined by exceptional individuals. Exceptional. First of all, we have fresh from the ivory towers of corporate America, Mr. Jarrett Smith. How you doing, sir?
Doing okay. Got a secure signal.
There we go. That's
see how long that lasts.
That's right.
So I'm sitting outside, so it's probably going to last. You're stuck with me for at least a few minutes.
There we go. And as always,
only Jason recognizes that threat as serious as it is.
That's right. And we're also joined by the Godfather himself, Jason Longshore. Mr. Longshore, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Do we want to make announcements to kick things off? I know we've got a ton of things to talk about, but we've got some Soccer Over There news we can talk about as well.
Only if we can do it big, Jason. That's my only rule here. It's got to be mucha plata, mucha euro, all of it. So as long as it's mucha euro, let's go.
Okay, we can do this. All right. A number of announcements. We will be doing a lot of live programming for you guys coming up very, very soon. We will be doing a pre- and post-game show for the U.S. Open Cup semifinal against Orlando City on Tuesday, October 6th, and our viewing party and our pre- and post-game shows will be done from the Brewhouse Cafe in Little 5 Points. So you can join us. We will be doing some giveaways as well. I know there will be some gift certificates there. We're working on some fundraiser items for our friends at Soccer in the Streets. Some raffle type of things happening. So stay tuned. There will be more coming out about that as we get ready for it. That just starts it. That's just one announcement. We got more. We've got so much more. All right. So we will be live at the Brew House on Friday, August 9th, the first day of the Premier League season in England. Liverpool's playing West Ham in the Friday night football match that they're doing these days. It's 3 o'clock our time. But Manchester City is holding a big party at the Brew House that night to kick off the season. And I think they're bringing all of their hardware, which they have a lot of these days. They've got a lot of trophies.
They seem to have a lot of domestic hardware.
Yes, they will be bringing that to the Brew House, and we will be doing a show, a Soccer Over There show, talking about the upcoming Premier League season and getting ready for the Manchester City event, and we'll have a special guest.
Who is this guest?
City, England, and Chelsea legend Sean Wright Phillips will be on the show.
Wow.
Fancy.
Live.
Wow.
From the Brew House, and you'll be able to listen on the SDH app and all of your usual places. And we've got more.
There's no way we have more. This is tremendous value that we're bringing to you right now. Exceptional value.
Starting on August 12th, the Monday. This is a Monday show, and it will be on Monday, August 12th. There's a new time slot for Soccer Over There, and we will be doing it live each and every week from the Brew House from 7 to 9 p.m.
Adjust your schedules accordingly.
You can come down, you can talk trash, you can yell at Nick for his takes on Colombian soccer players.
Please do.
You can talk England, because there will be probably a good bit of that. We'll talk Argentina and Bonfield's wonderful kits and Daniele De Rossi and Boca Juniors and all of the chaos that we always talk about on Soccer Over There, but you can join it live from 7 to 9 every Monday night at the Brew House in Little 5 Points.
Fancy.
Big stuff.
This is huge. This is huge. And the growth does not happen without all of you out there listening. My dad, with this pretty recently, we had a nice little cookout. He said, hey, man, I was playing over at the Roswell Fields, and some random guy came up to me. He said, hey, you're Tony Leafy, right? Are you related to Nick Leafy?
Uh-oh.
My dad says, yeah, because automatically he thinks, man, this guy's going to come shake me down for some money that, my kid owes him, whatever. and
well, Nick is Italian.
Hey, look, it happens. It happens. Look, sometimes you get in some financial hardships. You got to make loans with some sketchy people. Sometimes it may be. But and he brought up the fact that he listened to the show and told my dad that he enjoyed it. So, mystery soccer player, we hope you will join us as well down at the brew house, because it's big things, and we are just beyond excited about this. And I have to kill everyone's excitement right now. Can I do that? Can I kill the excitement?
Okay.
Yeah, I have to be the rain
I'm
cloud.
excited to hear why.
I have to be the rain cloud. Remember how previously we were talking about Gareth Bale joining, possibly going to China for like $1 million a week?
Yes.
That's not happening. Real Madrid has killed Gareth's dreams of going to China and making a wall of money. And there are some strings to this. And we have to go into the land of rumors and conspiracy theory to sort of bring this to light. Can everybody join me in this little expedition?
Let's try it.
Okay, we'll try it. Okay, so Jiangsu Suning was the Chinese club that Bale was going to go to. Remember, if we go back, Real Madrid said, look, the player's gone. We want him gone. This is best for the club. It's best for the player. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, why would Real kill this move? It seems to be a win-win for everybody. Bale walks off into the playing sunset, earning an insane amount of money, and they get Bale off the books. Well, here's the thing. Previously, Real had been possibly negotiating with Inter Milan. And Inter Milan was out there saying, hey, we might be interested if we can't get Lukaku. We may want Bale. Well, Juventus is jumping in and trying to send Dybala to Manchester United plus cash for Lukaku, which obviously completely messes up Conte's plans for trying to bring his favorite striker in. So here's the little rumor mill. Inter Milan's sister club is Jiangsu Suning, the club that Bale was going to go to on a free.
Coincidence. Total coincidence.
Total coincidence, right? Complete coincidence. In no way are these two things connected at all. So apparently Real Madrid started getting, the spider sense tingling. They start, I guess, doing their little bit of due diligence and research. And they killed that move. And now Florentino Perez says he's looking for someone to pony up a bit more cash. Now, the Chinese window, let me go ahead and get my facts up right here. The Chinese window ends this Wednesday.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so the likelihood of this move coming back to life in some sort of zombie fashion is exceptionally low. And not just that, but Chinese clubs are limited to how many international players they can bring in. And they're currently sitting at 5, which is above the number. They're going to be dropping one of those players, getting back down to 4. But that leaves Gareth Bale in a position where he's stuck. He can't go anywhere unless Inter wants to pony up the cash, which is what really it appears Real Madrid was concerned about, was the fact that they were going to do some backdoor deal between sister clubs and get Bale to enter, facilitating the move through Jiangsu Suning, and somehow they would work out either the contract fee with Bale would be broken up and a part of it would be absorbed by, all of it would be absorbed by Inter, but then it wouldn't necessarily be a transfer fee that they would have to amortize down the road and so forth. It gets long and deep and convoluted, but that is, guys, my journey into rumor in make-believe land.
There's so much craziness with this whole thing. So, all right, let's try to get the big picture and then get down to the details that are happening as we speak. So, okay. Zinedine Zidane wants Paul Pogba. I think we all know this at this point. He wants Paul Pogba. He's got to free up some money to pay Paul Pogba. Who does he want to get rid of? Gareth Bale, because that would save the club, save Real Madrid around €100 million in salary and taxes over the remaining 3 years of the contract. Sounds all good. Okay, so it's like, yeah, you can go on a free. Cool, bye. Here's somewhere you can go. Okay, cool. Yes, Gareth Bale's agents, your representation, you can go deal with this. Go do it. Go set up something. I want him gone. Then Florentino Perez is like, wait a minute, somebody wants him? No, he can't go. We got to get something for it. So now you've got Gareth Bale pulling out of the Audi Cup in Germany. He's pulled out of the squad. You've got Real Madrid issuing like press statements today about Gareth Bale training away from his teammates. You know, like you have to specify like who's training where because, you know, Real Madrid wants to do that. And they're like, yeah, Gareth Bale, he's not training with the squad. No.
No.
So you're running out of time in China. And also it sounds like Jiangsu, they can't take him on because they've already signed 2 international players. They don't have any room for him to play there. So if they were to take him, they'd have to loan him or loan somebody else.
Yep.
And
where would he be loaned to?
Well, yeah, but now Florentino Perez has said no, and
exactly.
Reportedly Zinedine Zidane is furious.
Oh, so furious.
Because,
so furious.
Well, he walked out. He said, I'm not doing this anymore. I won you 3 Champions Leagues. I'm done. Then it all blows up and everything falls apart. Then it's like, okay, please, I'm on my knees begging you, Zinedine Zidane, to come back. And I'm assuming that he said, yeah, that sounds good, but I'm going to have complete control over the squad. Okay. No, not so much. Haven't even got into game 1, and that's not true.
But it gets worse, guys. It gets worse. It gets so much worse. All right, so we know that Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane, as you stated, he wanted control. He wanted to bring in guys that showcased the skills and talent level that he felt was worthy to get Real Madrid back to Champions League winning ways. So who does he bring in? Eden Hazard. This was his dream job, right? This is what he told people at Chelsea. This is what he told any microphone that was put in front of him. Yes, I love playing at Chelsea. Chelsea is great. Chelsea is wonderful. But Real Madrid has been my dream club since I was a child. One would think that if you were going to show up for your dream job, you would be 100% ready to go, right? Locked in, focused, determined. I'm going to come in.
Styling.
That's right. When you show up for the first day of any new job, right? At least in corporate America, that's your Ric Flair day. You're wearing the finest clothes, the finest shoes. You have the watch you never wear. Everything is to the nines. Eden Hazard showed up 7 kilograms overweight. Fans noticed. Florentino Perez noticed and is now questioning, allegedly, the former Chelsea star's drive and desire. Now, I'm sorry. How in the world do you show up overweight to your dream club right out of the gate? I get you're vacationing. I get that it's Europe and there's delicious, wonderful food all over the place and there's beautiful yachts and all the diversion known to man.
That's a lot of croissants.
But are you showing up? How? I cannot fathom showing up that way. There's no way in the world. And then you're going to be a part of that drubbing from Atletico?
Yeah, what Tomas Roncero of AS described as Real's, quote, biggest humiliation in 50 years in a preseason game. But still, it is pretty bad.
Because I'm already getting DMs asking about 7 kilograms. That's about what is about 15 pounds.
15.4 pounds, give or take.
There you go.
Yeah, it was bad. You know what else was bad in life? Watching DC United run a bunch of kids out there to get railroaded in a friendly against Olympique Marseille. Like, quit trying to qualify it because it's just because it's a preseason friendly doesn't mean we get to give it a pass.
Zidane said you should though. He said you don't have to pour over it. It's a preseason game.
I'm going to pour over it. They
were better at everything, but there is nothing more to talk about.
No, you have to. No, you can't. No.
That's what he said.
There are certain things that concern me. AC Milan's friendly concerned me because they were so slow against Bayern. They were crawling. They had it was a nightmare. It's concerning. You're allowed to be concerned. Real Madrid it's one of those clubs that they are a prestige club, that every time you see them, you expect them to ball out of control and go nuts. Like that's who they are. That's the club that Perez has spent billions of dollars building. Now, you're telling me you're going to run this showcase club, right? And you want to get rid of all these people left and right. And Zinedine Zidane has been handed the reins, and you're back in charge. Asensio, now gone, injured. Bale, we want him gone. Wait, we're going to cancel this fantastic transfer that would have gotten this guy off of our books because, we think Inter might be willing to pony up some cash. And you're going to bring in James Rodriguez back from, how long has it been? 787 days in exile. You're bringing him back.
Nick, that's like what you do to a Roman kid who just we brought in this kid who's going to run the empire. He's been in exile in Africa. That's what the Romans used to do.
Yeah,
wasn't Napoleon exiled like that?
Yeah, he was sent to Elba for a while. It happens. You try to take over the world once or twice. Yeah.
You want to get you want to get your finger on the pulse of the Real Madrid fan base?
Let's go.
So Marca did a poll. 215,451 fans responded to the poll. So this is not just a small number of folks. 64% do not believe that Zinedine Zidane is the right coach for Madrid's makeover. 80% feel like the squad has not been sufficiently strengthened this summer, which they spent $338 million in new players, but it's not sufficiently strengthened, and they still need Paul Pogba. People are not happy at the moment in Madrid.
You hate to see it.
Well, here's the question that I think it's okay to toss out there. And this is before we get back into James Rodriguez, because I know the Barceros are out there were just waiting with bated breath for what I'm going to say about the boy. What I'm going to say is this. At some point, Real Madrid is going to have to take a look at themselves without Cristiano Ronaldo, and they're going to have to say, who are we? And because you had a situation, I think a lot like Auburn with Cam Newton, where Cam Newton won the title for Auburn, left, and then Auburn had a couple of competitive years, but they gave Gus Malzahn a wall of money, right? Because, look what he did. Look, they got that title to Auburn. It smashed Alabama. It was incredible. And now there are people with Malzahn's incredible contract. They're saying, get the guy out of town because it's not the same. At some point, Real Madrid has to look and say, how much of this success did we have in the Champions League? How much of it was due to Cristiano Ronaldo and his singular talent level? Forget what's off the field. Singular talent level. And was this Zidane making this happen? Was he just the guy who could keep the ship steady? Or was he a transformative figure who made the moves necessary to get us to where we are? Judging from the end of last year and what you're seeing now, it sort of looks like he might have been the guy just keeping it steady, which is not a bad thing. That's not a knock on the guy, but it's a difference in perception and how much room you're willing to give someone. You're going to give a caretaker a lot less rope than you're going to give a transformative figure. And so, guys, I think it's time to start asking this question because he wasn't somebody who was high on James Rodriguez. And if you're bringing this kid back from 787 days in exile, who made the call? Was it Perez who made the call or Zidane who made the call?
I don't think they can sell him. And, if they're going to have any chance of getting Pogba, they've got to sell Bale and James. They've got to bring in some money to do it. And nobody's buying right now. And then on the other side of it, okay, they want Pogba. Manchester United it sounds like it would love to get Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio, but they've got to get the money for Pogba to do it. So there's like these dominoes that are just sitting there waiting.
Yep.
And who's going to blink first?
That's right. And Napoli wanted James, and they wanted to get him on a loan with I want to say it was a loan with an obligation to buy. And those terms either weren't acceptable for James or they weren't acceptable for Real Madrid. But you have to move this kid, because if you bring him in and stick him on the bench, or if you're going to put him on the field, you better run him till the wheels fall off. Because if you bring this guy in after 787 days, you better damn well do something with him. And if you're not going to sell him or you can't sell him, then, I mean, sorry, you're going to have to sell and get it, just get his salary off your books. Just take what you can get. And it's the same thing with Bale. Do I think Bale is a bad player? Do I think he's a bum player? No, but he's, it's not working. And with James Rodriguez, it's the same thing. I don't think he's a bum player at all, but it's not working for Real Madrid. So you have to start getting these salaries off the books. And if you bring in somebody like Pogba, I'm not convinced that's going to save your day either.
This is the funny part about that poll. 60% of people are in favor of bringing in Pogba, but 92% of people don't think that he's going to solve all of Madrid's issues.
No, there we go.
I mean, so what are you going to do?
It's a club with toxic assets. This is no different than the housing crisis of 2008, right?
Wow.
You had people who were out there upside down in mortgages. Hold on, is that Jared back there? Is he doing auto
Probably.
auto
Cats
repair?
are about to get tortured.
There you go. Good Lord. Now, they have toxic assets. You're upside down in your mortgage to Gareth Bale. You're upside down in your mortgage to James Rodriguez. And you've had people who have floated you by either taking James Rodriguez on loan for 2 years, or you've had moments where Bale has literally bailed you out of some tough situations and got you a ton of cash, right? These things, there's some positive things here, but for what you want to be, you're stuck. You have to offload these. You have to declare bankruptcy or foreclosure on some of these assets to get out from underneath them, and that may mean finishing fourth in La Liga. Unacceptable. That may mean going out, in the second round of the Champions League. Unacceptable. Well, you're going to have to redefine what success is. And I used to sit down in front of Fortune 500 C-suite execs and say, what does success look like for you? And that question right there, ask it to anyone. And their answer will tell you so much about where they are and where they think they should be. Now, how much of that lines up with reality? Luckily, with a lot of the people who I sat across from, those expectations were in line. Here's where we want to be. Here's where we are now. And typically, it was an upslope. They said, "Hey, look, we want to go higher. We want to go bigger. We want to go better." Real Madrid's not in that position right now. Real Madrid is like it's not even a slope. It's like El Capitan. It's like a smooth surface, smooth vertical surface, and you're going to have to do something substantial to get yourself up that wall. And I wish him the best of luck. Not really, but I mean,
Wow.
Look, I'm sorry. How long have you had Sergio Ramos sitting there in the back? How long?
It's been a while.
He should have walked off into the sunset after the last Champions League win. He should have. Yes. Well, you can't now. You're stuck. You have a young talent like Vinicius Jr. sitting there, right? You got to start getting this kid serious minutes. You got to start playing him left, right, and center, and you have to start admitting that the success that you had was in large part due to a player who's no longer there. And there's nothing wrong with admitting it. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you had a unicorn player who fundamentally altered the dynamic of your team. And that player is not there anymore. And so now you have to come back down to reality just a little bit. That doesn't mean crater your expectations. It just means come back down a little bit.
the craziness that is silly season. I mean, you've got this whole thing with Bale, and then you've got Hamas dragged into the middle of it. Then you've got Pogba and Manchester United and the overlap there, and Milinkovic-Savic and that whole situation. You've got Manchester United trying to get Harry Maguire from Leicester City, and he didn't train today because they're trying to get it done. And you've got Fabrizio Romano, who writes for Sky Sports and The Guardian, saying that talks are ongoing. They're trying to get the contracts done. The player wants to go to Manchester United. You've got prices being slashed reportedly on Neymar and where that could fall into it. Now they just want cash at PSG. They don't want any players. They've slashed the price to $180 million. Chaos. And we're not even near the window closing yet.
And that should tell you that I think that you're going to have to start looking at the global transfer market before Neymar and after Neymar, right? BN and AN. So when is this transfer done? BN or AN? Oh, okay. AN? Okay, well, that makes sense of why it's lower than what they were going for before. Because I think he is the highest you're going to get probably for the foreseeable future. And the reason is that there are so many variables that go in with a player's success. You can talk about taking a player like Messi and moving him from point A to point B to point C to wherever else. That does not guarantee that his level of play will continue as it is. That's not a slap on the player. But if you look at the player he is for Barcelona and the numbers he produces there and the numbers that he produces for Argentina, that logic weighs out. And it's the same thing. You'll have a player like Cristiano Ronaldo. He is a walking nuclear weapon wherever he goes, and he can single-handedly turn a game, but he can't win you everything by yourself. Hence why Juventus didn't hoist the Champions League trophy last year. He has to have some extra help around him still. And every year he gets older, that help will be needed more and more. A player like Neymar left Barcelona because he wanted to be the man. I want to be the man. I want to be the player that is, his name is chanted through the stadium. That every kid has the name, my name on the back of their jersey. He went to PSG to be that guy, and he hasn't won a damn thing outside of France. And what's the return for PSG? They moved a lot of product. They got sweet brand Jordan jerseys.
They did get that.
But outside of that, what does PSG have to show for this? So, not everyone has to be Ajax. I get it. Ajax, to me, we all know how I was pulling for Ajax last year in the Champions League. Because it's the fairy tale. It's what we all, this young child who came up from like the U8s and now he's, 17 and being sold off, for an insane amount of money to a top tier team. That's beautiful. But not every team has to be that way. But you have to be intelligent in your business decisions. And Real Madrid hasn't been intelligent with their business decisions. Say whatever you want. Napoli, they're trying to get stuff done as well. But they're like you saw with Hamas, loan with an obligation to buy. Okay, that's smart business for them. They recognize where they are. De Laurentiis, for being insane in dealing with normal human beings, is a pretty good businessman, right? And so, now they're talking about who can we get to bring in as a striker and offensive talent for our team. Man, they're talking about trying to get Mauro Icardi, whose stock is at the absolute lowest it has been since that man started playing. He's a psychopath. I don't even think he's a psychopath. I think he's an empty vessel, and I think his wife is a psychopath. And
did her show get picked up again?
I don't know. The agent, when I don't refer to it as an agent. She is absolutely bat blank because she's telling Inter, we're happy to sit here and just collect money. Whatever, we can deal with it. And he wanted to go to Juve. Juve obviously doesn't want that circus in town because they're trying to get Lukaku.
That's an interesting one I got to ask you about in a second.
Yeah, but what you see now are teams that are saying, hey, look, we have this either a diminishing asset or an asset that is on the rise that we can get in for less money who will do more for us. And teams like Real Madrid, man, they can keep winning for the moment, because of the talent they have on deck. But give them 3 to 5 years, man. I don't. This is not sustainable. What they are doing is not sustainable, and now you're seeing the fruits of that. So go ahead, man.
How wild is it when it comes to Manchester United that they're at the heart of so many of these situations right now? So you have Lukaku, and where he could end up. Inter has been trying to get Lukaku for a while. It doesn't sound like they're going to be able to pull it off. And now you're getting reports that Juve wants to trade Dybala to Manchester United for Lukaku, and it sounds like straight up.
I've heard rumors of that. Straight up, I've heard rumors that it's the Dybala plus cash.
Okay.
Dybala
plus cash for Lukaku.
For Lukaku, which I think is
take it and run.
Take it and run. Absolutely. Well, it's a double win for you, right? And in jiu-jitsu and chess, they call it a double attack. It's the same thing here. It's a double attack because not only are you getting a frontline player who can strengthen your squad, but you're also hurting your opponent who is, directly vying for the same kind of player. And as a result, you're going to have to do some things because, and we talked about this in the winter window with where we said Chelsea was actually going to be one of the major players without being able to make any moves because once they sold Hazard to Real Madrid, the dominoes start falling. What we didn't talk about and what's evident now are how many of those dominoes are falling all across Europe. So you had Higuain leave Chelsea, go back to Juve. So now they're fat on contracts. They got to get rid of players. They're talking about selling Moise Kean to Everton, right? Which is absolutely stupid to me. But they're talking about doing it. Then they're talking about bringing Lukaku in and getting rid of Dybala. Dybala hasn't really been that great of a fit for Juve. He needs to take his play elsewhere. I don't. If I'm a Manchester United fan, I'm not incredibly sold on Dybala, and that's not just because I think he's a very good player, very talented player. I just wonder what condition his confidence is in after being at Juve. That's my concern. If he comes in and it's that fresh start and he's invigorated, you're going to get a machine. But if he's where I think he is, I think it could be problematic for you. But and then from there, you have all these other issues. Well, what happens with Pogba? Do we move Pogba? What can we get for him? And then you have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying, well, we can make him a captain. It's okay. This is a salvageable situation. I don't think it is. And I think this guy just wants out of Manchester and he wants to go to Madrid. And this sounds stupid. I think he should go to PSG. I think he should go to PSG because it would be a place where when you saw Pogba motivated when he was with France, you saw the locker room videos, right? And what was the thing about going with Pogba? Oh, he's immature. Oh, he doesn't care. And you saw those locker room videos. He had everybody together, and he said, I will drive this train. Get on board. And he came through. And I think if you sent him to PSG and said, we're going to surround you with stars, we need somebody to drive this train, I think he's a player who could do it. And I think that's a situation where they would have money to do it, to get a deal done. They have excess talent that they need to get rid of anyway, that they could ship to Manchester United that would still allow Manchester United to be competitive, probably while reducing their wage bill somewhat. I think it would be a win-win for everyone. I think the Real Madrid situation is just it's a bridge too far. But you're right. So many of these moves are connected to others. And what can make things happen. PSG is talking about sending, Inter is talking about maybe getting Edson Cavani, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. Now, if you have that, then that opens up another position down at PSG. Now what? Who's going to go there? God knows they have the money to spend. And so
the Champions League squads and the top clubs in Europe, it feels like it's turning into the NBA in some ways. About right now, like, okay, who's going to end up where? What does this mean for the Champions League? If PSG gets Pogba, what would that do? It looks like he wants to go to Madrid. All right, who's he going to get to go with him? All right, who do they have to clear out? It's wild. And then you have the deals that are maybe a step below, and I don't want Arsenal fans to go crazy about that statement, but you have Nicolas Pepe coming to Arsenal for €80 million. That's a lot, like way over their record fee. And when that happens and you get a comment like this one, this is from Marco Verratti's former agent, because Napoli was trying to get Pepe. Marco Verratti's former agent said this: the €80 million price is excessive. We're talking about a player who did very well for one season in a team, Lille, that would be in the relegation zone in Serie A. Pepe plays in a puppet league.
A puppet league?
He called France a puppet league.
Oh, the Duchess has made an appearance. The Duchess has made an appearance.
She knows the puppet league, I think.
She knows about puppet leagues. But the concern that I have here with some of these moves is that these are the keeping up with the Joneses moves, right? Where it's a signal to your fan base, hey, look, we're willing to spend. Hey,
€80 million?
80. Look at Newcastle, right? Newcastle broke their record trying to keep their fans quiet about God knows what else. But it's something where you have to make these moves once in a while to show your fan base, hey, we're interested, we're involved, we're doing things. Because spending $80 million on that player, you better come out and tell me that this is a move to appease the fan base, because otherwise you're telling me your scouting department doesn't necessarily know what they're doing.
That's craziness.
I don't know. There are other smart moves to be had out there. So you're talking about Roma's trying to get. Yeah, we're on the radio. You want to say hi to everybody? Say hi. Can you say Forza Azzurri? No, you're not going to say Forza Azzurri to everybody. No. All right. Can you at least say Go United? Go Atlanta United? No, not going to say that either. Okay, no part of it. But you have smarter moves out there where Inter's talking about trying to spend all this money to get Lukaku falling apart. You're talking about them trying to get Bale falling apart. And then what do you have now? You have Roma saying, hey, Deshko's here. Come get him. Perfectly viable striker asset. You could get him on the cheap. And, hemming and hawing and all that. Look, there are smart moves to be made out there. Taking $80 million and throwing it out there and say, okay, Pepe, let's go. I don't know. That's pretty bold.
That feels crazy.
I appreciate boldness. That to me is just a little out there. And you know what? In 3 years' time, Jason, knowing our luck, that guy's going to be a star. And Arsenal fans, the Gooners will be calling us up left, right, and center, telling us, you bums, you mocked this move, and look what he's done for us. I
mean, you're talking $80 million for Nicolas Pepe and $80 million for Milinkovic-Savic.
Milinkovic-Savic, that deal, the concern I have with him is he was not the same player last year.
True.
He was not. And the year before, 2 years ago, if you had listened to any of the reputable Calcio soccer heads out there, David Amayal, anyone else, they were huge on Milinkovic-Savic. To me, after last year, I would not spend that kind of money on him. I think he's a 40 to 50 million tops, and I may want an academy star as a make weight. I'm sorry, I just don't think he's that guy. And
I feel a little bit better about $80 million there than for Nicolas Pepe, though.
Yeah. He played in a more competitive league. He played, with a team that was pushing for a Champions League spot. But Milinkovic-Savic is not somebody who's going to be a transformative player for your team. And to me, when you're talking $80 million, you're asking for a transformative player. And I know that we're spoiled now with how much teams are splashing for players, but if you're bringing an $80 million player in, you're telling me that there's some critical hump that you have to get over, and he's the key piece to make it happen.
Right.
And for $80 million, I don't think he's the guy who's going to do that for you.
going to be interesting. Let's take a break here real quick. Let's come back, and we'll go to South America because we have to talk about Daniele De Rossi and Boca Juniors, the deal being done. And we have to talk about Copa Libertadores, second legs of the round of 16 this week. We'll get you caught up on all of that. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Georgia. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, contact my friend Steve Apolinski of Apolinski and Associates. He's been representing individuals for over 30 years throughout Georgia and Alabama. Email him at steve@aa-legal.com or call him 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
Welcome back. Soccer Over There. All the over there in Europe, I think we've covered. There'll probably be 5 more rumors that'll happen between now and tomorrow morning's Soccer Down Here show. But we've got some South American stuff to talk about, Nick, and we got to talk about the move that was rumored and we all thought was crazy to the point that old El Gringo on No Todo Pasa said that he would leave the show if it happened. He didn't believe it. And then the rumors started that, look, there's people in Italy right now talking to Daniele De Rossi, and he's going to go to Boca Juniors. And they were singing the songs about De Rossi and Gringo, ciao, ciao, ciao. And they walked him off the set. They brought him back because the deal wasn't done yet. Deal's done. Daniele De Rossi is a Boca Juniors player right now. It's amazing.
Hey, we talk about Fanatis all the time, where this is the one thing that you need to get. And honestly, if you are one of the people out there whose cable provider has taken away the ability for you to get BN, wow, Fanatis is something that you need to look at immediately because you get BN through them, right? So you get La Liga, you get all of that, legal, but you also get the beauty, the majesty, the liquid insanity of Argentine Superliga. And this is something where they also have the shows, right? Like Todo La Basa, and they had people taking their shirts off and chanting and singing on the air. And we're sitting there DMing each other like, I cannot believe what I'm watching right now.
So I gotta do this. So the deal when it's done. So when he arrives, first off, I mean, it's just nonstop coverage of De Rossi landing at the airport and De Rossi like being shepherded into a Starbucks and all of the chaos. The opening to No Todo Pasa, where Gringo Singolani had said, it's not going to happen. If it happens, I'm quitting the show. The opening after he arrived in Buenos Aires, it started with the song "The End" by the Doors. And they just kept cutting the pictures of Gringo
hilarious.
Looking very stern. It was unbelievable television.
and they were yelling, they were yelling at him, to get out in Spanish. They were yelling, they said "we're out" in Italian, but it was hilarious. I mean, it was the look on that guy's face was absolutely priceless. Gringo is somebody that I would love to know what the backroom bets were that he had to pay out yes. after watching that video.
What's so great about that show, and I was talking about it because when we were in LA, I was catching Mike Conti up on all of this and showing him some of these clips, and like those guys. I mean, you're talking about a show with like 10 people on it. First off, it's first take like on absolute steroids. So it's 10 guys, and they all get along because they wouldn't be able to like just kill each other so often on the air and do all of this if they didn't. It's just an amazing show to cover the game, and they get into all of it, but they spend a lot of time on River and Boca, obviously. And this was the big story, is Boca going to be able to make this deal happen? And they do, and they put out an unbelievable promotional video welcoming De Rossi to La Bombonera and welcoming to Buenos Aires. And it looks like he's going to make his debut probably in a couple of weeks, or what the reports coming out of Argentina are, in their next Copa Argentina match. They're going to give him a little bit of time to train. I think he's had like a training session with the team. He was there last night as Boca kicked off the Superliga with a disappointing draw at home to Huracan.
Yeah.
A lot of drama in that one, but Boca was unable to find the go-ahead goal, and they do not get the win. But they're a little distracted because you have the round of 16 of the Copa Libertadores going on right now. So for a lot of Argentine clubs, it's tricky.
If we can, let's not forget the fact that the Huracan goalkeeper went absolute superhero.
What a night for that guy.
He was stopping. I know Atlanta United fans to say, good Lord, every goalkeeper has their best night against us. Well, I promise you, go back and watch the Huracan Boca Juniors game, and you'll be like, we don't feel so bad anymore.
Five saves on the night, but these were some high-level saves.
High level. I mean, I'm trying to remember the player for Boca who, like, nutmegged a guy, like, maybe 5 yards away from the keeper, had like the goal dead to rights, yet still somehow the keeper extends at the very last moment to knock the ball away. It was absolute a magisterial performance to steal a Hudson line.
It was the national team winger, Eduardo Salvio, who they just brought into Boca this year. I believe he had been playing in the Middle East. He'd bounced around a little bit, 29 years old. Brought him in as one of the big reinforcements because Boca is the club in, or he's in Benfica, sorry. There's another River's trying to get somebody from the Middle East. Salvio had been at Benfica for a while, and Boca is the one club that's got a lot of money to spend, and they can throw cash around like to get a guy like this, but also to get De Rossi because he's not coming cheap on a salary. But all that does not get them 3 points in the first match of the league season.
Yeah, and when you're looking at what Boca needs to do, because they have lost so much talent, bringing in someone like De Rossi, it's an instant name. Worldwide, you're going to recognize it. And then not just that, he still has the ability to play. Do not misunderstand the fact. This is not a dinosaur who can't do anything. This is a guy who can absolutely come in and be a game changer for you at defensive midfield. Which, if he finishes the season at defensive midfielder, I may have to buy a jersey, Jason. It may have to happen. I may have to get the Boca De Rossi jersey if that happens. But this is just a move that he had a presser, and he was talking about how Maradona, and how could you not love Maradona, and two, that he told him about the love that city has for the team. And the Boca fans, when they show up en masse. And he said the greeting when he arrived at the airport at 5:00 in the morning, it was jammed. So when you go and you watch the video of De Rossi landing at the airport, and that airport, like, people are crawling on the walls, that's 5:00 in the morning. So
people are knocking each other out of the way into the McDonald's to try to get pictures of
That's
Daniele
right.
De Rossi.
That's right. People are leaving the pizza at the Sbarro and running with full speed to try to catch video of De Rossi, and then being stuck behind about 4,200 other people who are trying to get the same picture of him. But it's not just that. It's that De Rossi said, look, I could have gone to, other teams. I could have gone to more peaceful places, quote unquote. To me, that's a subtle bit of shade to MLS.
Could be. I mean, could be, China, Middle East.
Exactly.
Like that too.
No, very fair. Very fair.
Because there's talk that he's going to end up in MLS. Because it's not a long-term deal he's doing with Boca. There's a lot of rumor and innuendo that he's going to end up in either New York or Miami next season.
And let's say you're correct. And I'm going to put this challenge down to the first journalist who interviews him. Ask him about that quote. And if he meant MLS by that. And of course he's going to say no, but it is malpractice, journalistic malpractice if you do not ask that man. One, when you talked about more peaceful leagues, did you mean MLS? Two, what prevented you from coming directly to MLS? That's the two questions I would ask him. And I challenge all journalists out there who will be at that press conference, should it happen, go ahead and put your credential on the line and ask the question.
I take it at face value about going to Boca. I mean, this is a guy who he's going to get paid nicely to be at Boca Juniors. That's a definite. He's going to live well. It's an adventure, and he's at a point in his career where he's not going to play anywhere else in Italy. Probably doesn't want to play anywhere else in Europe where there's even a chance that he could see Roma in a competitive match. So he gets a chance to go to Boca, and he says all the right things about Boca's history and the support and learning about Boca through Maradona and all of that. It makes a lot of sense when you're able to do that. And at this stage, you're able to do it where things really line up well. Because if you go to Boca, you're there for, say you start playing in a couple weeks. Boca is leading 1-0 going into the second leg of the round of 16 against Paranaense of Brazil. And they get the second leg in Buenos Aires. So they're in a really good spot to go through. They missed a penalty at the very end. They should be up 2-0. But you're in a really good spot to go through. Your quarterfinals will be on August 20th. You would expect that De Rossi will be able to jump straight into Copa Libertadores play. You've got Copa Argentina going on. You've got a 23-game season that'll be over in February or so. Lines up really well to finish that season and then end up in Miami or New York City and get the best of both worlds and really get to experience a pretty unique situation. There's not many players that have that opportunity to do that. And he's going to be able to have his pick of what he wants to experience in the final years of his career.
That he chose Boca, and not just Boca, but Argentina. It floored me. It absolutely floored me. Because when you watch this league on a day-in, day-out basis, the physicality will blow your mind. And I've said it's a fast league. And I know that, our man Gustavo and yourself, disagree with me on that.
It's a transition league. Like it's definitely a league that is just back and forth in transition, and it's very intense. Like out and out speed, maybe not, but in terms of speed of transition, yes.
Yeah, and to me, that's where that the transition is where it becomes incredibly taxing. That intense back and forth play. It will wear on you. And that's why I thought he should have come maybe to MLS, where it is a fast league. But at the same time, I feel like he would have a little more play here in MLS than he would down in Argentina. I'm excited to see it. I don't think he's going to be a bum. I don't think he's going to be a bust.
No, he's too smart of a player for that.
Yeah, he's way too smart of a player. And the guy is, I'm trying to find the fortitude, shall we say, of said player. There's a reason why they called him the Gladiator. I mean, he will go in. He has no problems putting somebody on their rear end when he has to. So I'm looking forward to it.
You have him protecting the back four. You have somebody paired up with him to run for him, essentially. And you have him there to protect. That can easily work. And both got players that can do that.
They do. They do. So again, if you don't have Fanatis, get Fanatis. I promise you, it's worth it. Taise alone,
Yes.
it's worth this. And immediately after, last night I was watching some match replays, and they had this bumper that came on with these puppets, and the puppets
puppet show.
It is like a crazy psycho Argentine puppet show. And they're mocking players, they're mocking coaches, like guys getting hauled off by the cops. Like I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's worth every bit of it. But Jason, let's get into Copa Libertadores real quick as we close things out.
Yeah, so you've got the second leg of the round of 16 starts tomorrow. You've got 3 matches, and you can watch all these on Fanatis. It's on BN. They have the rights both in English and Spanish. The big one is probably Cruzeiro and River Plate, your defending champions of the tournament. It's a 6:15 kickoff, and it's in Brazil, 0-0. River did not get anything in the home leg. They then turned around in Superliga action, and they needed a late goal to get a point against Argentinos Juniors on the road. It has not been the start to the season that River Plate's looking for, and they could go out in the tournament in the round of 16 and not get any further in defending their title. That would be a bit of a shock. There was a bit of a shock in another match involving an Argentine team, Godoy Cruz, which is not one of the heavyweights in Argentina at all. They got a 2-2 at home with Palmeiras, one of the Brazilian giants, in the first leg. Godoy Cruz actually had a lead. They had a 2-0 lead and ended up losing it. It's 2-2. They're in Brazil for the second leg. That's going to be tough. They're going to put every bus they can find in front of their goal and try to get out of there. The other match tomorrow at 8:30 is Olimpia and Quito. 3-1, Quito comes in with the lead there, but they do have to go on the road to Olimpia, and we'll see how that one goes. Wednesday matches. You've got 4 matches on Wednesday. 2 at 6:15, Internacional versus Nacional, and Cerro Porteño, Miguel Almirón's former club from Paraguay. They are hosting San Lorenzo from Argentina, Tito Villalba's former club. So a little Atlanta United connection for you there. 8:30, Boca hosts Paranaense, and Flamengo hosts Emelec. And then on Thursday, Libertad hosts Gremio. Gremio is looked at as one of the favorites in the competition. They have a 2-0 lead from the first leg. They should be going through. Quarterfinals are on August 20th is when they start, and then the second leg is the next week, August 27th. Libertadores getting down to the business end of the tournament.
Now, some of you guys out there may be listening going, who the hell is Olimpia Internacional? I don't know any of these people. And that's the point. That's why we discuss it. You may not know of any of these teams outside of Boca and River and maybe San Lorenzo and Cerro Porteño, but I promise if you tune in to Copa Libertadores, you just watch the crowd and get started. Just randomly pick a side for whatever reason. Pick it and just start following. It is an absolute riot. It is so much fun. It's fast. It's aggressive. It can get, they can park the bus, but the crowd is so nuclear powered the entire time that even if they have the water boy, 6 ball boys, and the cigarette kid out there helping block the goal, I promise you, it's still so much fun.
There's always chaos.
Always chaos.
And honestly, if you're a Major League Soccer fan, if you're watching Atlanta United, you're going to start hearing more about these clubs. Let's get into Estudiantes from Argentina, a club that has won the Libertadores in the last decade, I think. Maybe it's just past the last decade. Matias Pellegrini, Inter Miami announced the signing on Friday, $10 million plus for the 19-year-old Pellegrini. They also added Julian Carranza from Banfield. You're starting to see players from these clubs, whether they're in Libertadores, from Sudamericana, or in the South American leagues. You need to at least have an understanding of who's doing what there, because players from South America are coming to Major League Soccer in larger and larger numbers. And if you're a fan of European clubs, they're shopping too. They're looking for these players as well. It's good to know the background of where they're coming from and what kind of league they're coming from and styles of play and such.
And just keep in mind that the players you're watching today in these games are going to be the ones who are going to be coming up. And, they're going to be players who are not just mentioned with MLS clubs, but especially with Milan, they love sourcing the talent from Brazil. So clubs in Serie A, clubs in La Liga that are trying to maintain financial fair play, and they don't want to go get that European star for $80 million. Instead, they may go and they find a kid in Brazil or Argentina with dual citizenship capability and bring him in for 15 to 20 million, and they turn into stars. So,
I mean, when you have in this tournament at this stage, round of 16, you've got your Argentine clubs, you've got your Brazilian clubs. We know them. You've got 3 Paraguayan clubs in this: Cerro Porteño, Olimpia, Libertad. You've got 2 Ecuadorian clubs in Quito and Emelec. Nacional from Uruguay. That's important because the Brazilian clubs, they've got money. They're not looking to sell players for cut rate. Argentina, well, correct. Some of these clubs are. Paraguay, Uruguay, and you're looking now at another $10 million plus transfer of Brian Rodriguez to LAFC, to the point that the U.S. Embassy is wishing him luck. Okay. Ecuador is a market that is growing as well, and Ecuador is a national team program that's growing as well. So these are players that you're going to see again. And the Libertadores is where they get that first taste of the big-time spotlight.
Mm-hmm. And so names are made here in this tournament. And just take a shot, find a team, even if it's a favorite, even if you're like one of those people who just has to have a front runner. Cool. It's okay. The world needs Man City, Chelsea, and Man United fans. Sure. But, find that team out there like a San Lorenzo. Find a team out there like a Nacional. Find them. And look, some of the Brazilian kits are absolutely awesome. So if you can get like a Palmeiras kit, those are really, really slick. I really like those. So just for your kit game alone, you should be following these, because if you want to stand out in a crowd and not have the jersey that everybody else is wearing, Copa Libertadores, baby. That's going to be your hookup. We are going to be stepping away now because our time for today is up. However, just keep in mind, we have big, big things happening here in the future. We're going to be at Brewhouse. Brewhouse, I hope you guys are ready. I have already put in my request, Jason, with the Brewhouse people, that if we can reinforce the floors and the walls. And I did this strictly because I know the following that we pull, and the people who will come out to talk trash just mainly to me, they'll agree with everything you say. They're coming. The Parceros are coming. But thank you so much for everything you do. Joking aside, thank you so much for everyone who listens and tunes in, whether you're listening live, whether you are downloading and listening during your Excel spreadsheets. I really appreciate you guys, because you guys are out there. You guys are the ones who are really out there making sure we stay up and we stay running. So thank you so much. Jason, where can we find you? What are you doing? It's an off week for you, right?
Kind of. Nothing for the All-Star game. We'll be watching it to keep up with how things are going there. Sounds like there's a few things to talk about on tomorrow's Soccer Down Here show from Orlando. Just a few. A lot of stuff, a lot of talk. It's that time of year. Good times. Can't wait. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock a.m. We've got stoppage time on Wednesday over at facebook.com/929thegame. We'll be on the midday show there on Wednesday afternoon at 1:20, and there's an AMA segment. You can throw questions at myself, at Andy Bunker, at Randy McMichael. Then Friday night, the twos play Loudoun United. You can listen to John and I on ESPN Plus. You can come out to Fifth Third Bank Stadium. Saturday, 5 o'clock, the Zlatan-less LA Galaxy come to town.
Yep. Somebody called that one. Not sure who. Somebody called that one.
That's what I heard, yeah.
I'm just saying. Anyway, I'd like to amend a previous statement on the way out. I said that if you were a Manchester United fan, you can be considered a front runner. That's completely inaccurate. If anything, you guys are saints for the punishment that you have been put through.
It's come back
still
around.
Considering yourself, it's coming back around. I will replace you, all Manchester United fans, with Juventus and Real Madrid. So there we go. That's my final statement on that right
Real
there.
Madrid might come back around too.
They might come back around too. It's going to be a long time, though. Got to get out of debt. So anyway, we will be back next Monday. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time. Until then, mucha Euro, y'all.